Graham Potter, you might as well pack your bags. You're leaving. You're getting sacked. Because it's as clear as this. The moment the leaks start coming out of this magnitude, the moment leaks of this aura start coming out, as if tomorrow's game against Leeds United, Chelsea versus Leeds, is a cup final, must win, you're sacked. The minute leaks are coming out that Bowley is the one of the few people in the board that wants to back you is out, you're getting sacked. Then we're getting nonsense like Kepa's apparently going to be the ongoing #1. Edouard Mendy's rejecting a new contract. Andre Santos is going to get his work permit and we know why. And finally the press conference where he basically, Graham Potter, tells us Mason Mount is actually on his way out of the club. The non-committal answer here, the fact of the matter that he swerved that question beautifully, but I was listening, tells us everything we need to know. You're at the right place for Chelsea content. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kavkas View. We haven't had a win in 16 games. Well, we've had 2. Doesn't really count when you have 2 in 16. But I'm here with good spirits, I'm here with good news, and I'm here with positivity for tomorrow's game. But realism has to come with it at the same time. So I ask for you guys to support the channel, and that's the quickest way that you can help me is hitting the like button. We're aiming for 575. I don't know why the 75, but I just want that number. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 25k. And finally, if you guys want to go the extra mile and want to help the channel, because all of you always say, I don't like your background, Alex. Well, you know what? Super chat. Donations help this channel grow. So make your mark, support the channel. But let's move on with the stories. Otherwise, you're stuck with his back. Normally, I start with the news and finish with a press conference. But today, we're going to cover the news and link it into the press conference. Then we're going to talk about Kepa and Mendy. And we're going to talk about Santos's work permit. So we're going to start with what's been coming out. Well, reports are coming out that Todd Bowley's one of the few individuals within his boardroom that actually wants Graham Potter to stay. Todd Bowley thinks more damage could be caused by sacking Graham Potter instead of backing him and seeing this tough period through. He believes he's got the right man, but there are individuals on his board that say, look, Todd, enough is enough, we need to get rid of him. Furthermore, we're starting to see reports coming out that tomorrow's game is a must-win game. And the minute you start echoing reports of that magnitude, nothing good is going to occur. Because what happens if we win tomorrow and we get absolutely smashed by Dortmund? Is the game after that a must-win? Is the game after that a must-win? Is the game after that a must-win? Because you're setting ultimatums for your manager. Your manager can't be living with ultimatums. Your manager needs to have the flexibility and at the same time availability to practice stuff that he wants to practice within games, and more importantly, feel comfortable enough that he's not consistently checking his back. But at the same time, the results, the way they've been going, are untenable. So I understand why Bowley is trying to not sack him early, but is taking the advice of his shareholders. The idea that Bowley has that we need to explore what's going on behind the scenes before we get rid of him, I understand that. That actually smells of a good organization. The easy decision now is to sack Graham Potter, and it's the one that I would take. I'm not even, but I think we need to be realistic about this because multiple managers have left. Multiple managers have been replaced by a good batch of these players. But at the same time, you need to remember, you've got in around about 15 to 16 players under Todd Bowley. You need a manager that's going to guide these players to the promised land. You're going to need a manager to guide these players to reach their potential because a lot of them are young. Is Potter the man to do it? I don't know, but it's something that we're going to have to find out by ourselves. This press conference that came out today was very reminiscent of a man that knows what he needs to do to keep his job. I think Potter has accepted the fact that there's a very good chance he's going to get sacked. He came out with a lot of vim today. He came out with a lot of responsibility. I need to do better. We need to do better. There was a lot of, we need the fans to stay on side. Our fans have every right to be backing us and at the same time being disappointed with us. This was a man ready to repent. This was a man that was going to fight his corner. And if you haven't watched the press conference, honestly, this is the most vim I've ever heard from Graham Potter. He knew what he wanted to say before he got in there. He knew how he had to portray himself, and he knew what he was doing. Whether or not that's going to be enough now to convince the fans, I don't know, because he was very open and honest about the situation that we're in, but at the same time, he was taking the responsibility, and that is a big difference between what he's been doing a lot. Yes, he hasn't been throwing the players under the bus, but he's been very nonchalant to losing. This time around, he was reiterating, it's not good enough. He was reiterating, we have not been good enough. He has been reiterating, it's my responsibility. And you know what, Graham? It's very easy to do that when you're going to get a payoff of £60 million. So I don't blame you. Graham Potter's job has got a lot harder though, and I think a lot of people are going to realize how much of a sticky situation we're in. We thought we were out of this injury curse, yet we've dived right back in head first because it's actually nasty what's happening. Thiago Silva out for 6 weeks, confirmed by Graham Potter in the press conference. Massive miss, because it means he's going to miss the Dortmund game, and I'm not going to lie to you, experience is what we needed in that game. We needed know-how, we needed balance, and more importantly, we needed guidance and leadership. On top of that, N'Golo Kante only done his first official full training session today, Friday. So that gives N'Golo Saturday to be basically on the warm down, Sunday to get himself back in the gym, Monday full training, and Tuesday, I don't think he's making a Dortmund game. Any hope that we had of him making the Dortmund game has quickly evaporated, and it's evident to see. On top of that, Mason Mount is out of the game tomorrow. Mason Mount will not be playing against Leeds United at Stamford Bridge because he has got an injury. Graham Potter didn't specify what the injury is, but he also reiterated that it's not serious, but Mount will be forced out of this game. This means no Mount. What does it mean for the players that are going to start? The big one in my eyes that really frustrated me is Reece James is injured again. Reece James has got a hamstring injury and he's a doubt for tomorrow's game. And now we're stuck in a little bit of a conundrum. And I think, in my opinion, I'm not risking Reece James tomorrow. I am protecting his hamstrings for Tuesday. He is not running until Tuesday. I am resting him. I am wrapping him in cotton wool. And I'm saying under no circumstances are you playing. The problem here is Graham's going to lose his job if he doesn't win the game tomorrow. So what is he going to do? Is he going to do what's best for Reece, or is he going to do what's best for him and the club? Because at this moment in time, the club want him to win this game. The club need him to win this game. We need to win this game to regain confidence for that Dortmund game. The problem is, you can't risk Reece James. Reece could be out for the season if he pulls that hamstring. I'm not risking him. Azpilicueta's out. So essentially, we're going to have to go and depend on Trevor Chalobah. And that worries me because Trevor hasn't played football in a while. And all of a sudden, you've got him on the left wing against a few players that are pacey with Leeds, that are very trickery, high intensity game. A lot can go wrong. Leeds already slapped us 3-0 this. So I don't want to see that. And finally, and this is the biggest one, Mason Mount's future has been revolving a lot around the tap. Mason Mount has been religiously asked and questioned whether he's going to stay at the club, and now the questions have been brought to Potter. And Potter could have deaded all of this by purely saying, I want him to stay. But Potter said, I think Mason's a good lad, I think he's a good guy, and he reiterated this over and over again. But then he dropped this in. It's between him and the club. And this is very big. He said, I'm the coach, I don't deal with contract negotiations. They asked him, do you want him to be part of your squad? He avoided that. All he said is, I want to go look at the next game. This gave me two facts. Number one, Potter doesn't know if he's even going to be here next year because the way results are going. And the biggest one, Potter doesn't know if the club are going to re-sign me. That's the thing. Potter could have put the club in a massive, massive conundrum, a massive dilemma. All Potter had to do is say, of course I want him part of my plans next year. He's the quality of player that Mason Mount is. Why would I want to lose him? Then the club have to give him a new contract. Reason being is, if you don't give him a new contract, he walks out. Next year, all we're going to hear is, oh, Graham wanted him. But you know what? They don't care about what the manager feels. He avoided the question. He played the company guy. I don't blame him for doing that. I would do the same in that situation. He's got a job to keep. At the end of the day, he might not even rate Mason Mount. He might be one of the reasons that Mason Mount's not getting a contract. But he avoided the question. He dealt with it like a pro, and I was very impressed by that. Now on to the other news, and the news about Kepa and Mendy has really got me worried. Because, look guys, I don't believe in short runs of form to judge players. Because I believe form is temporary, class is permanent. And I believe sample sizes are important. And people forget about sample sizes very quickly. All right, let me just talk to you about it. We signed Kepa for an absolute crazy amount of money. Kepa came in under Sarri, in my opinion, he had a good season, nothing great, nothing fantastic, nothing poor. Under Lampard, he was left exposed and honestly gained the reputation of being the flapper of the ball for the crosses and just getting packed on a regular basis. Under Thomas Tuchel, he regained some confidence, but he was eventually just replaced. Tuchel didn't have faith in him, and Tuchel didn't think he was the right manager to build, goalkeeper to build around. Potter's come in, Potter's got him back into the team. Arguably, he's been one of our best players this year. And now reports from Chelsea are coming out that Chelsea only want to sign a backup goalkeeper. Reason being is they believe Kepa's good enough to be a number one. That is absolutely crazy. If you believe Kepa Arrizabalaga is good enough to be Chelsea's number one, you don't know what it takes to be a Chelsea number one. Carlo Codicini. Then you start looking at Petr Cech, Thibaut Courtois. All three of them very good goalkeepers. All three of them Chelsea caliber goalkeepers. Now you have Kepa in goal. Kepa is very good at shot stopping, but he's not good at long range stopping, because when the minute the balls go into the corners, he ain't reaching for them. The minute it's a free kick and he has to get across his goal and reach, he ain't reaching for them. Weak wrists and is not dominant enough to come for crosses. He wants to be dominant. He actually has the cojones to be dominant enough to come out and collect the ball, but he just can't approach himself in a demonstrative manner where he comes and takes everything. He just isn't big enough, and that's not his fault. He's not going to grow at his age. Sadly, unless we can give him some surgery to make him taller or stretch him out, it's not going to change. Great keeper with his feet, decent goalkeeper at reflex saves, actually great goalkeeper at reflex saves, but he's just not decisive enough for me to be Chelsea's number one. And then we have the second problem. Mendy's offered a contract, and this contract is heavily incentive based. And this is the problem here now. Mendy's not going to sign that, so we're going to sell him and most probably try to replace him with a backup goalkeeper. But that's a problem for me, because Mendy had a very good run of form, where in my opinion he was top 5 goalkeeper, but then it deteriorated. Then his confidence went with the ball at his feet, and then he just became a goalkeeper that was panicking every time the ball was in and around him. Shot stopping became an issue. Shots that he was literally making all of a sudden started going under him, he started pushing the ball out wide, and he started looking at the player that I saw in the comps that we signed when we signed him from Rennes. So for me, it's very just interesting to see where his career goes after Chelsea. He's a Champions League winner. I think he got the best goalkeeper in the world during our Champions League award time. So we need to be realistic and we need to be respectful of what he's achieved. But at the same time, I think he wants to get paid. Like, you need to remember, this guy never was the player that half these players are. He started playing football late. He was homeless at one point. And more importantly, this is his first proper contract joining Chelsea. And I think he's only on 40k. So he most probably wants generational wealth now. Like, he wants money that's going to set him up for the rest of his life. So whether it's at Chelsea or somewhere else, I respect him for leaving. And I don't have no problem with him demanding the money that he's demanding, because in my opinion, he's earned. And the final piece of news, and this is a big one, Santos Andrea is going to be getting the work permit in the summer. Look, Andrea Santos has been called up to the Brazil squad. Brazil have got a friendly coming up, and I think it's a lot of players that are Brazilian based have called up. A few players from Europe have been called up, and it looks like he's in the 23. Well, not looks like, he is in the 23. He's been called up, as well as Victor Jorge, or George. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's been called up as well. And this is a good sign, because look, Chelsea paid £11 million for an individual that's in the Brazil squad at the age of 18. If we waited, we would have paid an absolute fortune for these players. But guys, that's what I wanted to report for you guys today. Tomorrow's game is massive. I will be here, whether it's with tears, whether it's with joy. But honestly, I really hope we just smash them. I really do. I just want us to win a game. Like, it's been a while since I said Chelsea blah, 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 blah in a positive manner to us. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Bye.